Hey, hello. Thanks for joining me for the second installment of How Quickly Can Change Come. Remember, in the first one, we talked about Esther and um, how in 24 hours things went from as bad as they could be to as good as they could be. And on this day, the whole nation of Israel in the Persian kingdom under Ahasuerus is slated to be destroyed. And in one day, the man who's masterminding it, Haman, is killed on his own gallows, and Esther and Mordecai get to write their own deliverance. The king puts his stamp on it, and the Jews are saved. In 24 hours, things turn around. I want to share another one with you that's really exciting. This is found in 2 Kings 6:24 through 7:16. I believe that's correct, but it's in 2 Kings 6 and 7. And in this story, it's about the northern kingdom of Israel, and the capital is Samaria. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, has come and he's surrounded Samaria, and he's no one in, no one out. He's got the place shut up, and things get economically pretty bad in the city. If you think that your city's really suffering because of the COVID shutdowns and lockdowns and all of that, well, it's not as bad as it was in Samaria. Women were boiling and eating their own babies. And in Samaria at the time, if you think your economy's in a downturn, a double heaping handful of dove doo-doo was selling for $50, and a donkey's head was selling for the equivalent of $800. That's how bad things were. There was no food. Well, the king, which was either Ahab or his son Jehoram, I'd have to go back and add up some numbers and look, and since it's not pertinent to the story, I'm not going to do that, but it's Ahab or Jehoram. They go to Elisha the prophet, and the king's really mad. He's like, I'm so mad about the way things are going, I'm just going to go kill the prophet. And when he gets to Elisha, Elisha says, hear the word of the Lord tomorrow. This is 24 hours later. He says, tomorrow, about this time, that's 24 hours, you're going to be able to buy a large bowl, a seah of fine wheat you can make bread out of for $10. And the king's right-hand man says, friend, that's not possible. That there's just no scenario in which that can happen. And the prophet says, well, it's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to be able to buy that big bowl of wheat for $10, but you're not going to get to eat of it. And it happened just that way. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But anyway, so later that evening, God causes the Syrians to hear the sounds of chariot wheels rumbling. It sounds like a mighty army coming. And the Syrians go, I'll tell you what happened. The king of Israel has hired the Egyptians and the Moabites, and they're coming to kill us. Let's get out of here. And God puts a spirit of panic on them. And the whole Syrian army gets up and runs away. And if you read the story, it says they're going down the road. They strip off their clothes. They throw away their shields or swords. I mean, all their armament, they're just throwing it. They're running away naked. And they leave everything. Well, late that evening, there's 4 lepers in front of Samaria. And they say, look, we're going to die here. It's famine in the city. We're lepers. We're dying. Let's just go surrender to the Syrians. Maybe they'll give us something to eat. And so they go out there and they find that the whole Syrian army is gone. There's nobody left. So they start gathering up silver and gold. Then they go, wait a minute, what we're doing is not right. So let's go tell the king. So they go tell the king. And when the king sends out somebody and finds out that that is, in fact, that the Syrian army was gone, everybody rushes the gate, and the man who is the king's right-hand man who said it is physically impossible for the kind of deliverance the prophet has said is coming to come. It cannot happen. That man was trampled to death, and according to the word of the Lord by the prophet, he didn't get to share in it. So they go out. Now, listen, this is a great army, 100, 200,000 men. It was a very great army, and they left everything. So now there are, let's say there's 100,000 tents that these guys are staying in. They're left behind. Everybody gets a new house, gets a free tent. 100,000 of them out there. The supply line for an army that big is wagon after wagon that's got to go on for a mile. They're pulled by donkeys and horses. All that's left behind. Everybody gets a new free horse, or in today's language, a new free car. They get a horse, a donkey, a new wagon. Everybody gets a change of clothes. The army stripped themselves naked running away. There's clothes on the road. Everybody gets a new sword, a new spear, a new shield. All that's left behind. They went from today, it's so bad we're boiling and eating babies and paying $50 for dove doo-doo. Tomorrow, everybody gets a new car, a new house, new change of clothes, and the finest wheat selling for $10 for a large bowl. That is a 24-hour turnaround. Now, if you're looking at the situation in the world today and in the United States, you're going, it is physically impossible. I want to encourage you, if you're not believing God can turn this thing around, don't be like the king's right-hand man who was trampled in the gate. You want to share in the deliverance that's coming. So I want to encourage you, do not let an evil heart of unbelief be in you. God has told me, going back a little more than a year now, that he is going to bring a Red Sea type deliverance where one day the Egyptians are here, the next day they're gone. So believe for that, get ready to share in it, and get ready to participate in the rebuilding of America, rebuilding the ruined cities, taking the places of authority, because I believe God is bringing a deliverance and a third great awakening, a movement the likes of which our planet has never, ever seen. Okay, well, there's another amazing 24-hour turnaround like that I'm going to share with you in the third post. I'm going to get to work on that now. But listen, if this has blessed you, if you know people who are depressed and they're suffering in their mind and they're down in their spirits and they're like, man, this is the end, there's no hope, we're done, share this post with them so that they can be encouraged and start praying in faith and join in the great deliverance that's coming. Well, God bless you in Jesus' name. I'll see you in the next post, Lord willing.